Yo, what's up, Gaming Rebellion? My name is Dirac, and I'm here with Isaiah.
What's up, everybody?
And today we're just looking at one of the articles concerning Black Ops 6. So, you may have heard about the enhanced audio that they're offering for $20. More specifically, they call it Enhanced Headphone Mode. They offer the service for $20 for the premium tier with a 5-year license through a company called Embody. For those of you who don't know who Embody is, they are a company specializing in personalized spatial audio technology. They aim to enhance immersive experiences across various media, including gaming and professional audio production, according to their website. Whether or not it's worth it, I don't know. I've never been big on audio, as I've never tried to become an expert in any first-person shooter, personally. I know a lot of gamers who complained about Call of Duty's audio in the past, and according to this article that I found on Tweaktown, one of the expert audio engineers, William Cornell, said, "Gunshots and grenades will realistically fill the space around them. Footsteps will echo down long hallways, and the sound of rain and crickets chirping will come in through open windows and holes in the wall." That sounds all well and good, but again, as far as paying the $20 for the, apparently it's a 5-year license, you get to see for yourself whether or not it's worth it with their 14-day trial. But what are your thoughts on the topic?
So I think more so than thinking whether it's worth it or not, we need to talk about it in the sense that we used to be able to pay a certain amount of money and you got the entire game for it. You paid your $60, 50, whatever it was back then, and you got the entire game. Nowadays, you don't get the entire game. You have to you have day one DLC that you can pay extra for, and now we're getting into this new space where we're talking about you don't even have all of the audio settings with the game anymore. You now have to pay this extra. Granted, it is pretty cheap at $20 for 5 years.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
$20 for 5 years. Now, I'm assuming this only works with this specific game. And players have been, or at least over the past decade now, I know players have been, if you were playing Call of Duty on your TV, you were at a disadvantage over somebody who was playing it on their TV with headphones in.
Right.
And they had, that spatial audio, and they could determine which direction footsteps are coming in and whatnot. So it's always been pay to win in that sense. But I don't think it's ever been pay to win to the sense where the game is baked into the game like this. It kind of reminds me, I'm going to use that slippery slope argument, but back in 2011, you had the guy, he was the EA CEO. And he said, I think John Riccatello, and he made that comment about, if gamers are 6 hours into playing Battlefield and they run out of ammo, and if you ask them to pay $1 to reload, they're not going to be really price sensitive at that point in time. So it's about taking advantage of people and finding the places where they are the most price sensitive and making them pay for things that they normally wouldn't pay for, manipulating them, I guess, in a way.
Right.
So I think taking the audio out, the best audio settings used to just be straight up in the game, and now making you pay this extra on top of it. This is just another microtransaction. It's just another way. And why not, right? Like, if you're willing to pay $20 for a skin for your gun, then why wouldn't you pay for $20 for an advantage over anybody else that wouldn't?
Right. No, you're right. Because people are going to pay for it regardless. In this case, it'll just be that it gives them the tactical advantage. But you're absolutely right. What you're saying is just like, when does it stop? Now we have all these microtransactions where you can buy skins for your guns, skins for your player characters and what have you. And it's like, how greedy can you get where now you're even charging for the audio? A feature that people have complained about in the past, they can't like play the game. They keep getting caught off guard. And it's something that needed to be addressed. They chose to address it, but now they're charging for it. And my thought is just, this is your answer. We fix it for you, but you got to pay for it.
Of course.
I can't think of a bigger FU than that.
Well, the gamers enjoy this, first of all, right? Like we can get mad at Call of Duty and Activision Blizzard all we want, but let's not forget, it hasn't even been a month yet, I don't think, since Activision Blizzard released a mount in World of Warcraft for $90.
Oh my God, yes.
And people are eating that up. They're saying like, God, you'd be stupid not to spend $90 on a mount. So until gamers start respecting themselves a little bit more, and some people, they're like, well, it's just, it's only $90, it's only $20, who cares? Those people exist, they're always going to be here, and that's the thing, is like, unfortunately, they're not the majority, but they make up enough money that, how much do you think it really costs to make that $90 mount, or to add this audio option in? Probably not a lot. Probably, they're going to make plenty of money off this deal. So you saying, oh, I'll never buy it, they don't really care. They're not this isn't aimed towards you.
Right.
This is aimed towards people with excess money who think that $90 on a mount is, you'd be crazy not to do that.
No, you're absolutely right. And I actually read an article recently. We'll get into the topic another time, but there were a couple of articles that said that they're not aiming for the gamers who don't have the money to buy it. They're specifically targeting the people who they know will pay the money, and that's why they charge what they charge for it.
Oh, the PS5 Pro, yeah.
Yeah, PS5 Pro, yeah. So it's the same concept. It's like they don't care about the gamers who are being, I guess you could say, reasonable or rational with how they want to spend their money, because that goes back into the topic of how, like, way back when we bought a game, when you paid that I guess like back where games were like $40 and $50 and whatnot, you had the whole game. You didn't have to pay for anything extra. You had everything that came with the game. And now we've reached the stage in the future where you're paying extra, and you're consistently paying for features that should have been baked in the game from the start. You're paying for fixes and patches that technically should have been in the game, but the fact that they charge you for it at all is just shameful, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you say back in the day when games were $40 and $50. Powerworld came out this year, and it was less than $30, right? So
yeah, you're right.
There are games that are coming out, and they're not being they're
greedy?
giving you the feature. Yeah, they're feature complete. They're giving you everything.
Right.
But as long as people are willing to pay for half-baked products, this isn't gonna stop. I expect this trend to continue. Last year, I think it was, when Diablo came out, Diablo 4, they had this great idea to say, you know what, the game's gonna cost $70, but if you pay 3 days early, if you want to play 3 days early, you just have to pay $20 extra. $20 extra, and I have friends that were like, well, I have no choice but to play 3 days early, so I have to pay the $90 for this game. And it's like, there's some people that just absolutely can't control themselves, and that's the market they're looking to hit. And if you want these things to stop, you need to stop buying. No. That's it. Straight up.
Yeah. But
us complaining about it does nothing. Us, we could talk to a blue in the face. They don't really care, because they're just, as long as people are willing to pay for it, they are going to keep providing this air quote service.
Right, because they don't really care about what we want. They want people's money. And again, just what you're saying is, as long as you have people who are going to throw money at it, it's going to keep happening. Like, going back to the whole mount situation with World of Warcraft, I remember seeing, I think it was a video or an article where like the whole guild bought the mounts, and it seemed like there was like 100 of them all riding around, having fun and whatnot. It's like, I mean, if that's what you want to do, it's your money. there's really not much I can say to that. But if you want to see change in the industry, you have to show a little bit more restraint. Again, it's your money. I'm not telling you what to do with it. It's just, what is your goal? What do you want to see in the future of gaming? Do you want to have to spend $90 on a mount just because people offer it and say, oh, you have to buy this because everyone else is getting it? Like, I've never been one to fall in with the crowd when it comes to that kind of thing. It's like, if I see a bunch of people crowding around a certain product or a gimmick or something, I always take a step back and kind of analyze. I guess you could say I'm a little bit of a skeptic, because typically when that happens, there's some kind of underlying, I don't know what the word is, but basically there might be some kind of trick to it, and it's not something that I want to fall for. And more often than not, when you actually stand there and analyze what's going on, it's like, oh, this is a cash grab, and this is what they're doing. They know who to target, and it's just, it sucks that they prey on these people, and they don't realize they're being taken advantage of. But then they turn around and it's like, oh, if you don't have the money, just say so. It's like, it's not about the money. If I wanted to buy it, I could, but I want to see a change. I don't care about the little things that they toss at me, because that's dumb, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I used to play a game called Lost Ark, and it was a very fun game. I really enjoyed it until you get to a certain point where the monetization really hits you, and either you grind it out or you pay money to pretty much go forward. And once I've learned to realize that I'm on that treadmill. Once I've learned to recognize the signs that, okay, this is the game no longer respects my time. It's time to cut it off.
Right.
I can't get mad at these people, because once upon a time with World of Warcraft, I mean, I played WoW for like over a decade, and I was that person. I was when they came out with mounts originally, I was buying them because I was supporting the game. I really enjoyed what they were doing and everything. And then sometimes you just get into the habit of doing things. And it was just like, I'd come home from work and I'd just get on WoW because that was just what I was just used to. It was a habit at this point, and it wasn't because I was having fun. I was just stuck in a habit. Now that I learned to recognize when a game is trying to get me in the habit, excuse me, I drop off. My brother had bought Diablo for me, Diablo 4. I was like, I determined not to play it, but then I played it and it's like, oh, the game was kind of fun. Then you get to that wall all of a sudden where it's like, wait a minute, why am I still playing this game? And realizing that you're no longer having fun. You're not having fun with it in the way that you used to. And I think once more people start getting to that point, and it takes a while to get there. Like sometimes, I mean, maybe some people never get there and they just say, I like having pay to win games or pay to play games. Like I like lording over people with my money. And if you don't, some people won't get to that point ever. But for us that have realized that, we just need to stop buying the product. You stop buying the product, and then they don't have. The thing is that if the reason why they will buy this audio option is because there are people out there that bought the game, and they don't have the audio option, so they have an advantage over you because they did this. Once you get to a point where everybody has the same advantage, then the game's no longer fun to them anymore. So if you're not there to begin with, and they only have to play against other players that have the audio option, then it's not fun, and then they'll move on to something else and ruin another game.
Right. By that time, they'll already have their money, so whether or not the company actually cares when that happens, it's really whatever they're trying to hit as far as their targets and goals go.
Right.
But as far as that audio goes, would you say that this is considered a pay-to-win tactic?
Oh, absolutely. It's not even a question. Why else are you paying for it?
Right.
Right. It's a PvP game. You're not playing for it to hear the great, amazing soundtrack of the game. No, it's a pay-to-win option.
Right. And it's funny because some articles say that they try to paint this as an alternative to having to pay for professional headphones in order to hear the footsteps and stuff like that. And it seems like they tried really hard to make this a feature that is not necessarily something that's absolutely needed, but also if you really want to get full bang for your buck, that you'll just go ahead and do the $20, because like I said earlier, they fix most of the audio, apparently, according to them. Like, they've enhanced the audio in general, but then now they have this option where you can enhance it even further. So it's like, what does this mean for the future of games, as far as like having people pay for these little things like audio or whatnot to make it a better experience? Like, if this becomes as successful as I'm sure that they hope it'll be, what does that mean for other similar games that try to monetize certain functions as simple as hearing what you want to hear?
So I'm actually sorry. I meant to, when I brought up the Diablo example, that's what I meant to get into, was how they had the, paying 3 days early. Now World of Warcraft was the same thing. It was, you pay 3 days early, you pay an extra $20 and you get to play I think it was even more than 3 days early. Maybe it was a week early. I'm not even sure. But yeah, when people start realizing, like, hey, how much does it cost you to have the game open 3 days early? Nothing.
Right.
But you get an extra $20 on top of the game price. So it is a bad precedent for those of us who wish that gaming would just return to its roots.
Yeah.
Because what is the limit at this point?
Right.
I don't know. We've talked about Mike Ybarra. He was one of the executives at Blizzard. He was saying how games should have a tipping screen in there at the end. And it's like, why? Like, to me, the tipping screen is buying the deluxe version of it, right?
Right.
We've heard about in-game ads and data. I mean, they're already collecting data on you and whatnot.
Yeah. They're very shameless about it. They don't care. It's like, once you buy the game, you give them the email, you give them any kind of information, and then all of a sudden your phone starts blowing up with ads and stuff. It's clear that they're not, at least for me, they're not trying to make a better product. They're simply trying to compensate by adding all these different features so that they can get back on their returns instead of just creating a better product. And we talk about going back to the way games used to be. But I know a huge part of that difficulty is we're coming to a time where everything is at your fingertips. If you have to wait for anything, it drives people crazy because they're getting used to the habit of having everything almost instantaneously. It's hard to see a future where we can bring gaming back to the way it used to be while still either appeasing those people or just retraining the way they think in order to better align them with, I don't know how to phrase it, but basically just to get on the same page with them and what we view for the future of games.
So I think we need to, this is like a little pessimistic, I think we already lost. I think what we need to do is realize that they have their sector and these games are not for us anymore.
I got you.
That's why Palworld is so cool, because it does appeal to me. It doesn't have all those crazy things. We have Baldur's Gate 3. People flock to that so hard, and they're still coming out with they didn't say they're having DLC, but they keep adding to the game.
Right.
Over a year after it came out. And for $60, mind you, not even the $90 that the clowns are charging now.
Right.
And we need to realize that there are companies that are doing the right thing and stop giving these other people our money because they're not deserving of it. Go out there, try out some new titles, explore, expand your horizons a little bit. Play things like, I was gonna say Silksong. What's that game called?
Shoot. I was gonna say, Hollow Knight.
Hollow Knight, really good game. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, really good game.
Yeah.
Play games like Hollow Knight, Ori and the Blind Forest. There's all these kinds of games out there that are really good and really high quality, and that don't do this. So I think people, unfortunately, they flock to these games because
they have the name, the title, IP.
Yeah, they're used to it. It's the habit. But there are really good go back and play some single player games. I know we've been into the multiplayer and live service for the past decade. That was the name of the game. But going back and playing some of these games, and it's like, man, there are some really, really good experiences out there.
Yes.
If you're willing to, take the chance and go try them out.
Right. It's totally worth it too. Like, I mean, you have Call of Duty, you have alternatives. And of course, when you hear Call of Duty compared to some of the other alternatives that might be indie titles or whatnot, you want to get what would be considered the real deal. But at the end of the day, it's like, it doesn't have to be just Call of Duty. There are other games that can do what they do, and a lot of them do it better. But that goes back into what you said. If you take the time to kind of just explore what else is out there, you can you lift the veil over your eyes, because that's what they try to do. It's just like, nope, this is it. This is what you want to spend your money on. If you want the real thing, this is what you do. You come to us, we take care of it. And you don't have to fall victim to their tactics. Whether or not you consider yourself a victim is your perspective. Personally, I like to explore different titles. I love my single player games, and I love puzzle games and all different types of genres. And the indie gaming space has a plethora of games, and like you said, it's like they have high quality titles. Like Hades, oh my god.
Yeah,
I played Hades. I was just like, this is crazy. I can't believe this is an indie game. But a lot of people don't realize that. But I think another part of it might be that when you get a little bit older and you have less of people feeding information to you, you get that opportunity to kind of explore more. You get to see it for yourself. But it might not just be an age thing, because it might just be habitual. You're used to doing things a certain way, and that's fine. You have your favorites. I love Pokemon, but again, if they win this lawsuit, I'm done with them. But Pokemon's my thing. We grew up playing Pokemon, and it's hard to look at alternatives to Pokemon and be like, oh, this is so much better, because it's like, yeah, but this one always will always have a place in my heart. But Power Worlds, my goodness, they sunk their whole heart and soul into it, and I don't have to worry about cash grabs. I don't have to worry about, for now, I don't have to worry about how Nintendo released Scarlet and Violet. They knew that there were going to be bugs in it, and they released it anyway because they had to hit their margins and whatnot. But it's kind of embarrassing when you see companies that have the money to do the right thing, but they deliberately try not to. And I know a lot of them blame the fact that a lot of these companies are public, and they're trying to basically keep their investors invested. And I get it, but they're still missing an entire market that could help them get to where I don't want to say where they need to be, but where they could be. And they're ignoring us gamers who can get them there. So they come up with these stupid tactics, like the stupid audio thing. And again, to each your own. But if you really want to see a difference, if you want to see this whole marketing monetization scheme die out, you have to make that decision.
And the other thing I wanted to mention too about, they've reduced the gameplay quality. So you look at how I said it in the beginning. Once upon a time, you used to get the entire. You didn't have to worry about paying for the extra audio. Got the best audio with the game. Now I have to worry about, are the developers going into creating a game and making it worse for the chance to sell you the solution to that problem that they are now creating? So now I've had games. Man, I wish I could remember the game. It was a Korean MMO I was playing that they nerfed EXP in order to sell you EXP boosts, because they weren't selling enough EXP boosts, so they nerfed your EXP gains in order to make it so that you would be more incentivized to buy EXP boosts. And I don't want to get into that space where now you're the graphic quality is getting worse because you didn't decide to pay for the 4K package, or or as we see here, your audio quality is worse because you didn't pay for this audio package. Like we said this already, but like, where does it stop? And I really don't like the idea that now there's an incentive to create a worse version of your game in order to sell a better version, which should have been baseline.
Right. It's completely the opposite of the direction the gaming space should be going towards, which is what many indie game developers are working on. They work on innovation and creating better games, while these people are going backwards and trying to adopt marketing tactics that you see in everyday marketing, which should honestly stay in its own space. It doesn't need to be introduced into the gaming market. This is what they're doing now, and they want to hit their bottom line, which I'm sure they already do to a certain extent. They don't necessarily need these tactics where they're cutting back on graphics because you don't pay for them. But it honestly worries me. It doesn't worry me too much because indie games are coming up right now, but to see your favorite IPs starting to suffer because this is the direction that they're choosing to go, it's it still worries me. It makes the future just uncertain. I just hope that
it's uncertain if they had the monopoly, but thank God that they don't anymore.
Yeah.
Or like there's monopoly is starting to slip. AAA gaming is becoming a meme kind of at this point too. Yeah. Right? Like it's becoming synonymous with cash grab and a joke and whatever. So they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on these games, and they're some of them are flopping. We talked about Concord. You talk about Dragon Age now.
Yeah.
They're spending all this money on these video games, and they're flopping. When you have I would almost say that a lot of them are getting too big to succeed.
Yeah. Yes.
They're spending way too much money. They have way too many resources, and because of that, they now you have to sell 1 million copies in the first day, or else the game's a failure.
Yeah.
So they're kind of doing it to themselves. So I said I feel like we lost already, but that's just we lost this battle. I think we will win the war because they're killing themselves. These tactics are basically what they're doing in order to stay afloat and to keep their infinite profits going. But you can't hit infinity, unfortunately. There is a ceiling, and we just have yet to reach it.
Right. They're making it worse for themselves too, because they have us again. Like, we'll tell them what's wrong, but unfortunately, according to them, we're just a toxic community and we're not worth listening to. So whatever.
Yeah, you keep alienating more and more of your community, and you'll find out that you no longer have a community. So.
Mm-hmm. It'll be our fault when you go down. Got it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anything else you wanted to go over?
No, that was it.
Well, that'll be it for this episode. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace
out.
Well, that about wraps it up for today's episode, Rebels. Don't forget to subscribe and stay informed on all things gaming. We've got some exciting projects coming up, so you won't want to miss what's next. We'd like to thank you again for tuning in and joining the rebellion. Until next time, happy gaming.